Someone from the dream team, Build a Dream, a new member, Maaya Kaul. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I'm very excited.
I'm really happy to have you on, and I love your shirt. Can you show our
I
audience,
can,
our
yes.
viewers?
Yes.
Empowered woman, empower women. What a great shirt to wear for this episode.
I thought it was appropriate.
I love it. I love it. Definitely Build a Dream approved.
It's the first iteration I believe you guys had with
It was,
Recovery Hour.
yes. Yeah. And we do have new ones on our
hmm
Dream Shop. So thanks for supporting and
Of course.
showcasing our merchandise. This is why we hired you, Maaya.
I thought so. I was like, it's a shoe in. I gotta wear it. I own it. It's already started.
Perfect. Well, Maaya, I was so glad that you showed interest in wanting to come on as a guest to talk about your journey in getting to build a dream, but also your unique situation and experience because your first week was when COVID-19 was announced as a pandemic.
Yes.
And you were living in Toronto and now you're living in Windsor. So I thought this would be a great opportunity for us to talk to you, being part of our dream team, but also to provide some inspiration to some students who are maybe struggling right now, just questioning what their future looks like, but also to provide some employers some insight about what they could do if they're onboarding someone during the pandemic and having to work remotely. So why don't we start off with how do you feel today and what's it been like working at Build?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's been a journey, as I'm sure it's been for everybody who's transitioned to this new normal, this work from home normal. And definitely starting a new job amidst a pandemic is a special, unique circumstance, but I'm sure there's other people in my circumstance as well. I truly don't believe I'm the only one, but it's definitely been a journey. Some days, super great, feeling motivated on top of it. Other days, a little stressed out, nervous about what's happening and everything going on. So it definitely ranges day by day, but I just got to remind myself, wake up, it's a new day, take it head on. I'm very grateful for our team. So to give a little background, I guess, on what it's been like since day one at Build a Dream. First day, came into the office. I had come down to Windsor and met the team, kind of got a lay of the land on the first day, but the first day went from learning about all of our upcoming events, what was going on, what I would be doing. And then by the end of the day, team meeting, all right, COVID contingency plan, we're probably canceling all of our events. And I was like, wow, this was an eventful first day. So just from the beginning, kind of hit the ground running. And I didn't really know what to expect. I was like, oh, I'm so new. What's going to happen? But one thing that I can say has been amazing throughout this entire experience is our team. And I felt so supported from the entire team from the beginning. And then day two, the WHO announced, oh, we're in a pandemic. And I was like, oh, okay, pandemic. Everything's changing. I'm new. I have to be trained. But also, we've changed kind of all of our ideas and the things like our company started pivoting. And so I was just like, okay, we got to pivot along with it and go for the ride. And once again, I'm just so grateful that our team is so supportive. And they're kind of like, all right, Maaya, hop on. We're doing this. We're adjusting. You're coming along for the ride. And it's been great. Of course, some days better than others. Just, I think myself being a little overwhelmed. When you're in a new position, you want to be doing the best you can. And you're always wondering, am I performing? Am I doing everything to the best of my ability? But with so many external factors going on, you just kind of have to remind yourself that, you're here for a reason. Do the best you can, help however you can, be supportive. And once again, grateful for the team has been really great about welcoming me in and being able to ask questions and kind of air any sort of issues I'm having and ensuring that along the way I was also okay, because one thing you did from the beginning, you were like, I know this is stressful, there's a pandemic going on, but also how are you feeling? You started a new job. And it was great to be able to just have that conversation, because it was like, yeah, this is a little overwhelming, but it's possible. And I'm really grateful for all the technology that we have. That's definitely been helpful along the way. I think the greatest thing for me is still getting to connect with the team, having our video calls, that face-to-face interaction really gets you through the day and reminds you like you do have a team and a support system around you, which people might forget as they sit at home by themselves or at home with people who aren't their coworkers. So those check-ins that we have and those one-off face-to-face calls or just picking up the phone and saying, hey, I have a question, has been super helpful. And I think a great tip for everybody working from home, don't be afraid to call each other. getting to have that voice to voice or face-to-face interaction makes a huge difference than an email or a text.
Definitely. And you were the one that initiated the standing meeting twice a week and sent out the meeting invite for the entire team, just so we can have some kind of routine consistency. And I think that was a really great initiative on your part, because it allowed us to really look forward to those touch points and really talk about any of the challenges. But then we've also encouraged our Thursday meetings to just not talk about work and just focus on how everyone's doing, have a good laugh, and really try to bring some normalcy to all the craziness. You had just left your position at Sick Kids, which that alone is already a huge challenge, right? You're starting a new role, and actually you and I, we were in the same situation. I was leaving a full-time position to do this full-time. And I knew immediately that if I was feeling all this stress and challenge and worry, that naturally everyone on the team would be feeling it as well. And I remember saying to you, okay, don't worry, your job is safe. But I know that you had received a lot of questions about, what's going to happen. You just started a new job. What's it like?
Yeah.
How have you walk through that worry? Like, how have you coped with it since the beginning and now? What would some strategies be that you could provide insight into?
Yeah, I think definitely a strategy across the board for everybody who's maybe having this stress or anxiety around their job and positions is just taking a moment to check in with yourself. Mindfulness checks. There is a really great app called Headspace that takes you through just little meditations. And for some people, maybe I was even a non-believer. I was like, this isn't going to help me. But actually taking the time to just sit and check in with yourself and be reflective on everything that's happening and kind of get in touch with how you're feeling makes a big difference and really helps you kind of focus in on what you're feeling and say, okay, how can I approach this? How do I make myself feel better? What answers do I need? Who can I talk to? And that really kind of going that aspect and doing those check-ins with myself kind of helped calm me down, because you're right, starting a new job when all of this is going on and hearing about layoffs left and right and being kind of worried, like, oh, I'm so new. Maybe they're realizing, okay, this isn't the best time to be onboarding someone. Sorry, your position has been taken away or something like that. Of course, these things were running through my mind from other people, external people, old coworkers, friends. They were like, are you worried? Are you worried? And at first, I don't think I was actually that worried until they started saying all this to me. And I was like, oh, should I be worried? But then you were amazing about right from the jump, checking in and being like, you know what, stay calm, don't worry. And I think that's a big piece as well, is having that communication with your employer. If you're feeling stressed or worried, don't be afraid to have those conversations. Reach out to your supervisor, manager, boss, and have a conversation if you're feeling stressed. Maybe even if it's not about losing your position or being out of work, but if you're feeling stressed, I think it's important to communicate that, because this is uncharted territory for everybody, and we have to be mindful of what's going on. And I think we have to be kind to each other and check in on each other and look out for each other, because we are all we have right now. And it's important to be aware of how everyone's feeling.
So true. And a lot of the webinars I've been tuning into, and I'm sure the rest of the team has as well, it talks about the importance of empathy and compassion during this time, and really recognizing that we're all struggling and dealing with this differently. But I think that your story is very unique, hence why we hired you as our partnership community development coordinator. And I would love for you to share your university experience. You're a UN alum.
I am, yeah.
And I did a a Facebook Live with Lyndon Crane the other day. And I wore my CoOp and Careers t-shirt, because I'm always thinking about our youth and our students and providing them experiential opportunities to begin building their future. And you were a CoOp student and also worked abroad. So can you walk us into some of the strategies you used in university that led you to working at Sick Kids and then now working with Build a Dream?
Yeah. So my university experience, I absolutely loved. I had an amazing time at Windsor. I had awesome opportunities that I look back onto still to this day. And I'm so grateful that I had, because they are definitely the reason that I am where I am. So I did an undergrad at Odette. So I have a Bachelor of Commerce with CoOp and then concentrated in marketing. So when I was going into university, I probably had a similar feeling as other 17 and 18-year-olds of, okay, what do I want to do? What am I going into? What's going to get me a good job? What am I interested in? And I flip-flopped so much in terms of what I wanted. I went to my parents a lot because I really appreciate their advice. And I went, like, my applications were drama and like arts and then business. And I was kind of like, okay, what am I going to do? And I was trying to think about in what I truly didn't know. And then when I was looking at program options and opportunities, something that really stuck out to me with business was co-op and getting to go on an exchange, and kind of all of the other experiential pieces of that degree are what really stood out to me. And I thought, you know, I can build out an amazing experience for myself and still maybe find a connection to something I love, whether that's drama or arts. Because to me, in my head, with a business background, I could take that knowledge and kind of apply it anywhere. So business was the route I went. I went into co-op. And so after my first year, started the application process. And for students who are in co-op, the first year of applying might be very stressful and overwhelming and get you down. But I promise you, you just got to keep powering through. And it's honestly a great reflection of what the job market is like now. As a graduate after university, you have to be applying to applications daily, multiple times a day. 30, 40 applications are going out, and maybe you're getting 1 or 2 responses. That is the reality. And honestly, co-op was a great preparation for that, to set your expectations of what it's going to be like outside of school. So I was really grateful that I got to go through that and was stressed out about it and learned the different things so early on that maybe I wouldn't have learned until after university had I not done co-op. And my first co-op I did with Enterprise Rent-A-Car, which still to this day, I believe taught me so much that I've taken to every job, even though it was rental cars. But I learned so much about the business on the back end, and customer service, I believe, is brought through every single job you go to. So it taught me so much about working with people. And then after that, I also did exchange, as I mentioned. That was something I really wanted to do when I knew I was going to the University of Windsor. So I went to the Netherlands to a school in Arnhem, which is this small town near the German border and about half an hour away from Amsterdam. And so when I was there, they have a co-op office themselves for their students. And I was fortunate enough to work out an agreement that I could use their co-op office as a Dutch student on my Dutch student visa and get a job. If I was successful in getting a job, they would recognize it back in Windsor and use it as my co-op term. So this was unique because no student had done it before. So I was trying to kind of pave that out and figure out how it worked. And Windsor was trying to figure out how it worked, and my Dutch school was trying to figure out how it worked. So I'm really grateful that everybody came together to make that happen, because that was one of the best job experiences I've ever had. I ended up getting a job in Belgium, in Brussels, for a company called Europe Unlimited, and I was an assistant project manager. So what that looked like was organizing events for startups. So these startups were from all different sectors: health tech, fintech, anything you can imagine. It was basically like watching an episode of Dragon's Den, where startups come in, they pitch an idea to a jury of investors looking for funding. And so this was really cool because we were based in Belgium, but we got to travel all over. So I went to Spain, Denmark, Germany a couple different times to host these events. And it was very exciting. And co-op taught me a lot of things that I don't know that I would have figured out until much later. So the idea of working in events, I didn't even really consider until I got this job. And I realized, oh, I really enjoy these pieces, creating something and then watching it come to life a couple weeks later. That was really exciting to me. And so then I ran with that and continued trying to discover what career paths I could continue to do in that realm. And so I kind of diverted away from that a little bit after I finished my degree, did another term of co-op, actually went back to Enterprise after I had come back from exchange. And then upon graduation, I actually worked for the University of Windsor and did recruiting, which was very fun, had a great time. Meeting so many different people on the road, getting to travel around Ontario and represent the U, which was really exciting. I am very passionate about the University of Windsor, so loved being on the front lines, yelling my Windsor pride at all the other students, getting them excited about Windsor. So that was a really fun job as well. But then I was really interested in still this event side of things. So that's when I had started applying to Sick Kids, and I just honestly kept applying. They had so many different openings that came up, and I applied in to be a clerk, which was similar to like an intern position for 3 months. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to try. I had just finished a contract with the Canadian government, actually, in Windsor, at the refugee office in Windsor, working as a program assistant, which is also a position that I was beneficial to pick up through my connections at Odette. So definitely number one tip for students, use your network in school. Don't be afraid to talk to your coordinators, your counselors. They're there to help you, and their door is always open. So definitely talk to everybody. Shout out to Phil and Lisa at Odette. They were great and helped me a lot throughout my experience. But going through that was really great, and then led me to SickKids, where I got this 3-month internship, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to try it. And I was fortunate enough that I just kept getting extended and extended and extended, and working at events, and also realizing my passion for helping others, working at a nonprofit, and especially a nonprofit that has such a beautiful mission and such great stories, and also was very well known. So, you know, there's so many different families you meet all the time at SickKids, and it was just amazing to be a part of their story and help and feel good about going to work every day, waking up and helping people. And when this position came available with Build a Dream, I really wanted to make sure that I was still going to work somewhere that aligned with my values and what I care about, and promoting young women and lifting up young women and advancing women is so important to me and my values. So when this position came available with Build a Dream, and learning about the company and our chats that we had together, getting an idea of what Build a Dream was all about, it was that excitement that I felt from my previous job at SickKids, being excited about going to work every day. I was now feeling this about Build a Dream and thinking, I can do great things with this team. It's a lot different going from a big organization to a small organization, but it was very exciting. It had that entrepreneurial feel, and I knew waking up every day I would be excited about my job. So it wasn't like I was losing that aspect of leaving a job, but I was gaining it in another way, and I was going to grow more skills and grow with this team, and it got me really excited, and here we are.
It's so interesting because just thinking of your journey and thinking of how you benefited so much from the experiential learning, from putting yourself out there, from traveling to a whole nother country, learning a new system, taking advantage of the supports that you had available to you at the Odette School of Business. That's exactly what our organization tries to promote and encourages young women to consider and families to tap into, so that they can have greater opportunities and more doors open for them in the sectors that females are underrepresented. So I love when I hear students talk about their amazing post-secondary experience, especially being a huge fan of the University of Windsor. I mean, I'm an alum, I worked there. I worked in CoOp, so shout out to all my CoOp and careers team who truly are invested in helping students find career pathways and providing them the experiential learning opportunities so that they could discover what they like, don't like, what they enjoy, don't enjoy, but also develop the skills necessary so that when you graduate, you have that experience on your resume that will encourage more employers to hire you, and you have the ability to bring those skills and knowledge to the table. So such a great highlight of your experience and your journey. What has been your greatest, I would say, surprise since starting at Build a Dream, whether it was besides the pandemic, like that's everyone. Just on me.
That definitely takes number one.
That's number one for all of us, because it's I often joke, I'm like, when I made the jump as well, I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? Like, no, definitely didn't consider pandemic, and definitely did not consider a recession.
Right.
However, here we are today. But what has been, I know that like even for me, being entrenched in this work, I'm still learning as I go. What has been your biggest surprise, like aha moment?
That's, I guess, on the organization side, one of the biggest like wow moments and an exciting moment for me was realizing the amazing relationships Build a Dream has built so far, and seeing how quickly our partners and our community partners were ready to just jump in and help. I'm like, that speaks so much to the amazing work that Build a Dream has done already, the amazing relationships you guys have built, and how what the brand stands for when people are so willing to help out. And it just makes me feel really good inside in these times, in this pandemic, like knowing that other people are there to support and ready to help is something we all need right now, like everyone banding together. And it was great to see the outpour of support from all of the partners thus far. So it's a testament to the amazing work that Build a Dream has done so far to build these relationships. And at the drop of a hat, everyone was like, all right, how can we help? And that was an awesome moment to just like see unfold. I guess, not one moment, but multiple moments to see all these people coming forward to help out. Really made me excited about where I work and made me even more passionate and feel good about the mission and why I've joined. And yeah, definitely solidified excitement for the job.
That's awesome, because it's nice to hear it from someone else, because I feel it every day. It's funny because I've been doing this for a very long time, but like the call we had with Cisco, Ellis Don, and X Dimension, like that moment this week where they were all like, it was like partners coming together, setting up a meeting to say, how do we all support this amazing organization, Build a Dream, and what role do we each play? And they were like delegating tasks to each other while we're on the call. It was just such an amazing moment to see community come together for the greater good. And it just made me very, very proud. And I'm so glad you saw that, because that's what awesome. Makes every day worth it, right? The hard work, the stress, the pivoting, the unknown, really, really worth it at the end, because you see, so and it's great because you saw the community partners come together, and then you're going to see the young women and families benefit from that support, which is further going to ignite your passion and motivation for the work that we do. So that's awesome. What were some of the things, you talked about technology, working remotely. What were some of the tools that you've learned since starting at Build a Dream and being really almost forced to get to know a team remotely and work remotely?
Yeah, so definitely all of the programs that we have downloaded in the last couple of weeks, testing different things. So using Slack, using Zoom, also using Teams, using Trello, and like kind of getting your brain wrapped around the fact that paper and pen is great, but everything is going to be digital now. And we're going to do our best to try and stay organized, get on top of things. And sometimes maybe we'll make the wrong decision and use the wrong thing. We'll try something, it's not going to work. And I think understanding that this is a bit of a trial and error period, and we're just trying to find our groove at this point, is important to remember. Not everything's going to be the perfect idea, but there's definitely the right tools out there for not just our team, but every team, everybody working remotely. Like the tools are out there, you will find them. It might take a little bit of learning and being uncomfortable for a few days, maybe a few weeks, but the comfort will come, the norm will come, and you'll realize that, you're working maybe even better than you were before because you're using all these tools that maybe you were just a little scared to be introduced to before, because learning something new can be challenging or daunting, or, if it's not broken, why are you going to fix it sort of deal. But now we're kind of forced to. Everything is broken and we have to fix it. And there's so many tools out there that you can use. So that's been awesome to learn and kind of forced upon us. But I think we will benefit for it in the long run, no matter what, whether we are remote still, when we're back in person. Using these tools now is going to be a huge benefit for all of us. And I think all organizations across the board.
I definitely agree. And it's funny because I was one of those people that there were certain tools I'm like, I don't have the time or the energy to even learn something new at this point. I just need to make whatever is working keep working. And then being forced to take a whole team remote was just a huge learning curve. And I'm still learning. I'm still learning Trello and getting more used to it. But Slack, I'm a lot more comfortable with. Zoom has been amazing. WebEx, I can't wait till we get to use that platform for both our events and our webinars. So I think you are right. I think one of the advice that I'm hearing from you say is like really embracing some of the challenges we've had to deal with. But the outcome could be really positive, and that's learning new skills, a more efficient approach to doing your business, and then also recognizing that this was a huge opportunity for us to build a strong, solidified team culture where we each kind of lean on each other to get through the tough times.
Absolutely. One of the first things I said when this all happened, and I was just chatting to friends about it, my position was going to be remote anyways, because I'm based in Toronto. Now I'm based in Windsor based on everything happening. But I was down for training, and then eventually I was going to be back and working remotely. And I was telling people, I'm really nervous. I've never done this. I find I'm a very social being. So I was like, oh, it's going to be a little different, but I'm going to learn. And then suddenly everybody was remote. And there's this bit of comfort in knowing that everybody is kind of in the same position as you. and we have to lean on each other and we have to support each other because we're all going through the same thing. And so it kind of unifies us even more as a team because we're going to make it through this and we're going to get over this hump and we're going to figure it out and we're going to come out the other end so much stronger. And I think a lot of teams will see that happen for them.
I think so. And I hope that that's what's happening in the workforce, because one of the things that we really need to count on is each other's strengths and talents and ability to be resilient through these times to get us through the next, wave of so many different changes. So our organization focuses on educating young women about these different career pathways and using different tools, resources, networks to guide them in their career discovery. What do you wish you knew in high school that now you want to give back to the high school students?
Yeah, I think understanding and researching these things from an early age would have been really beneficial. I think I waited until like grade 11 or 12 and was like, oh, I guess I should start planning what I'm going to do. Because I just kind of thought, it'll come to me. I'll figure it out. I'll know just by going through my daily motions. But definitely looking into it from the beginning, realizing what courses are available at your high school. I think there was so many, even business courses that I never knew about or didn't take that I wish I had taken while I was in school. Learning more about finances, if it was possible. Financial literacy, I think, is so important. And I am so angry at myself now as I try and figure these things out, especially now. I'm like, okay, should I be investing? How do I invest? What do I do? Stock market. Okay. And I'm trying to figure it all out. And I wish I had known that at a young age, because I think it's so important to know these things. And if you can start it early, that's an amazing benefit to you and good on everybody who's doing that. I wish I had learned from a younger age about all that sorts of things, like taxes. I don't even know how to do those. We have an accountant. I go to an accountant to do that. Like all these skills that I'm like, wow, if I had learned that younger, I think I'd be benefiting so much more now. So that's definitely something, financial literacy, I would have tried to focus on in high school. And then more hands-on learning. I did know later on that co-op was an option at my high school, but I honestly didn't know how it worked, how to get into it. And I wish I had, because that experience I had in university, I could have started even earlier by getting that hands-on learning from a young age. And I would definitely recommend any student who has the ability to get into co-op or look into those hands-on sort of interactive things that they can do in high school, whether it is through OEAP, co-op, and getting that experiential learning. The earlier you can start doing that experiential learning, I think will be for the better and only benefit you.
Well, and here's a question for you. Speaking of co-op, how many employers that you've interviewed with have asked you for your grades?
Oh, I don't think a single one.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I'm trying to make a point right now. But how many people have asked you what your past experience was?
Oh, every single job interview, I think I have brought up at least one, if not both, of my co-op jobs. Every time.
Exactly. And the skills and your experience and your knowledge and your expertise. I'm not saying grades don't matter, but what I'm saying, grades coupled with experiential learning and hands-on experience is what gets people into the positions that they're able to get into after they graduate or during their apprenticeship. So I definitely wish I knew about co-op as well in high school. I didn't. I don't know if it's not that I didn't know, I just didn't connect the value of it as much as I clearly now connect it, having worked in co-op and promoting co-op. What are the other pieces of advice you want to give to young women in high school that you wish you knew sooner?
Well, something that as a Windsor student, I was born and raised here, went to high school here, and then went to university here. I think one of the biggest things when I was in high school going to university is, oh, you don't want to stay in Windsor. Like, you want to go away. You want to get out. You want to branch out and move away for school. And I totally believed that I wanted to do that. And then when it came to deciding where I wanted to go, I truly believed that I made the connection that it doesn't matter where you go. It's what you put into it that you're going to get out of it. You can go to any university, but the work that you put in and the experience you build for yourself is going to be what you get out of it, no matter where you go. And so getting to stay in Windsor and kind of building out that plan of, I'm gonna stay home. I'm gonna save money. I'm gonna go on exchange because that's something I'm really passionate about. I'm gonna do my co-op, and I built out such an amazing experience for myself that when I was even living in Toronto and talking about my university experience and my co-ops and things like that, they're like, oh, where did you go to school? Like, were you in Toronto? Things like that. And I was like, no, I was back home in Windsor and I still had all of these amazing opportunities. So I definitely think there's a stigma around like getting out there and being in a big city, which I think you should just go to the school that connects with you the most, the program that connects with you the most. And if you can build out your ideal scenario at that school, make sure that it's a right fit. Don't just do it for a name or a title or getting away from home, because I know that was something I was like, I gotta get out. But it ended up being an amazing experience staying and being at Windsor, and I loved it for myself. Maybe it's not for everybody, but definitely think about the experience you want to build, find the program that connects best to you, and try and focus in on what you're going to get out of it. Can you build your ideal scenario at the school? Can you get involved in things you want to get involved with? And focus on that. Focus on the content that they have and the opportunities that they have, I think would be one of the biggest pieces of advice for young students trying to pick that next career path.
One of the questions I often get asked, and I reflect on it quite often, is how do you find your passion? Like, even when you started talking about your journey going into post-secondary, you said you were either going to go into the arts or into business. Really different.
Yeah.
And could have been completely two different experiences. So how does one find their passion?
Honestly,
it's a big question.
It is a big question. I think I'm still figuring it out, if I'm being honest. I think you'll have multiple passions. I think there'll be a lot of things in life you are passionate about and excited about. And some of them you might not even know until you're doing it. When I was at Sick Kids, that building that passion for helping others was very exciting for me. And then and then hearing about the opportunities at Build Dream, getting to connect. I knew I had a passion for advancing women. It's always been something I've been excited about. I've had some really great female mentors in my life, who I've also met through the Odette School of Business. Shout out again. Radha Patel, who is also on our Build a Dream team. I've known her since I was in university, and she's been an amazing mentor to me and taught me so much about myself and kind of helped champion the fact that, hey, I'm really excited about advancing women in society. And so maybe I started with advancing myself and kind of going out there and trying to do everything I could to build my career. And then once I saw Build a Dream and I was like, oh, I can connect that passion to my everyday life. I'm like, that's exciting. Like, I love that. And I still think I'm trying to figure out more passions every day. Like, I always loved drama and the arts. And I'm like, okay, how do I reconnect to that? I think finding your passion is important. And then if it's not, it can happen in your everyday life, but I think there's other things you can pull into it. Maybe it's not one passion is happening at work, but another passion could be happening in the volunteer options that you do, how you get involved. All through high school and then parts of university, I volunteered at a local theater in Windsor and got that passion for arts out that way. So I could, there's ways to balance it all. If you're not getting all of them in your day-to-day work, or you're still learning what they are, there's always ways to incorporate them. Picking up hobbies might help you reveal a new passion. There's lots of ways. It's a journey. It's a big journey of self-discovery. And I think we'll be on that journey for a while.
And I agree. It's a lifelong journey. It's self-discovery. It's experiential opportunities. It's putting yourself out there. It's trying new things. Saying yes more often than no to something that you may have otherwise thought that would not be something you'd want to do, to at least know if you truly want. How do you know if you've never even tried it?
Yeah.
I remember being in university and juggling multiple jobs while going to school full time, and then going to figuring out that networking events helped me build contacts, and then those contacts helped me in my different positions and also in my education. So I remember people saying, like, you go to like all these networking events. Why? Like, you're spending a lot of time. And I'm like, well, I want to get comfortable with getting to know people. I want to get comfortable with my communication and my communication skills and my confidence. I also want to get comfortable with knowing what our community has to offer. After all, like, I work in not-for-profit sector. My job is to either connect youth or women or job seekers to the labor market. So how would I do that if I don't know what's out there? So I remember going to these networking events, and I grew up in a household that didn't, like, my family, I love my family, but they didn't have a network. So it's not like I could tap into my family's network to get to where I am. I had to build my own network, and through that be able then to help others build their network so that they could have doors of opportunities open for them. And I realized that if it wasn't for the amount of times I said yes, as opposed to saying, no, I'm not comfortable, or no, I'd rather use my evening to do something else, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I wouldn't be so fortunate to have found what I'm passionate about. Like, I can genuinely say, I love the work that I do. Even during this time, I'm so fortunate that I get to lead a career that brings me so much joy and fulfillment. So when I get asked this question, I just want to tell people to keep trying new things. Say yes more often than no, in the sense of trying something that you never thought you would be interested in. And I think that that's the beauty of self-discovery and learning what you want, don't want, what you're good at, aren't good at. And just because you're not good at it at first does not mean you can't develop the skills to do it if that's what you enjoy.
I think you really hit it on the head when you said kind of discovering, like, going into the unknown, being scared, challenging yourself. Like, that's so important, because I think one of the biggest ways we're going to grow as people is by being uncomfortable, doing the thing that you're scared to do. Like, when I was thinking even about coming to Build a Dream, like, I was so scared. I was like, is this right? Should I be doing this? Do I know what I'm doing? Am I going to be good at this? And I was like, kind of telling myself every reason why I shouldn't. And I was like, you're scared, but it's a good kind of scared. It's an exciting kind of scared. It's the kind of scared where you know you're going to challenge yourself and you're going to grow because of it. And there'll be bumps along the way. There'll be a learning curve. I think you have to struggle through things and fight through things and learn and make mistakes, because you're going to grow from it, and you're going to discover your passions and that excitement to come to work every day. And if you don't, maybe you'll figure out what you don't want to do, which in itself is still a great learning. Like, not checking things off the list, taking things out of, like, okay, I did this, I didn't like it. That's good. At least I know now. If you don't try, you'll never know.
Exactly. And I highly recommend this book, and I'm trying to think of the author. Fear is My Homeboy.
Oh.
I love that book, and embracing fear and really being mindful when it's fear preventing us from trying something new or fulfilling our goals or our dreams is so key for us to really reach the potential and the opportunities that we want for ourselves, and to find our passion. Because oftentimes there's a self-talk. I've been there, and it's funny because I speak publicly. I've spoken in front of thousands of people for years. What people don't know is I still get so nervous the 2 minutes before I'm about to walk on stage to give a speech or to do a welcoming or whatnot. But I still put myself out there because I've always wanted to have a voice that can make a difference. That's been my goal. And that will require me to sometimes be afraid to put myself out there. And that's okay. So I definitely recommend Fear is My Homeboy. It's
all right. I will add it to the list.
Add it to the list. It's so good. Is there anything else you want to add or highlight, promote during this Facebook Live?
Everyone be kind to each other. I think that's a big thing. People are doing it. It's been great to see, but we are in uncharted territory right now. It's new for all of us, and all we have is each other, especially right now, whether it's a virtual call, picking up the phone, waving to each other from a social distance somewhere. We have to support each other through this, because we're going to get through this. It's going to end. We're going to move forward, and we're going to be stronger for it. And even though it's hard, take the time for yourself. Take those moments for yourself. Self-care is so important right now. Taking care of your mental health should be a priority, even if you think work is your priority or something. Like, take care of yourself, because you don't want to burn out. You don't want to stress yourself out. It's a difficult time, and we shouldn't be ignoring how we feel.
Love it. And I asked this to all the guests. What are some local businesses you want to give a shout out to? Yes.
So Craft Heads Brewery, Craft Heads Brewing Company, absolutely love. They deliver with their Brewber is what they're calling it. Their beer, but they also have partnered with a lot of local businesses. So Peely Island Winery, I believe Armando's Pizza, I'm forgetting, Grand Cantina, and a few other local businesses to help deliver their food to you as well. So I love that in their pivoting, they've actually also included other businesses and said, hey, let's come together, let's work together, let's provide for the people of Windsor and support each other and bring them some happiness in these days. So absolutely love them and everything that they're doing. Order some Gruber if you like their beer, or want some pizza. You know, it's all good.
Awesome. And one of my favorites as well that I probably will be ordering this weekend is from Minology.
Nice. Yes, a classic. That pizza.
I just, because we were talking yesterday about, this challenges small businesses are facing. And I know that it's difficult for a lot right now. So really shopping local is going to be key. Can't wait to get our grocery order from Fred's. They're just down our street. So I definitely love the sense of community that I'm seeing during this time, and hope that continues and we're reminded of who pulled us through these hardships. And I personally can't wait to go back and eat in restaurants and to socialize and to throw our big bash at Build-A-Train with all of our favorites and get to see people. Well, Maaya, I love the fact that you came on today and put yourself out there.
I'm so excited. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to meet the Build a Dream community, even though it couldn't be at a physical event. For now, I'm excited that we could at least connect virtually and kind of introduce myself and chat with you. It's been great.
Yeah, I love it. And we'll definitely need to have you back hosting your own Facebook Live session.
I would love to.
So,
yeah.
As I mentioned, thank you all for tuning in to our Facebook Live. We're still looking for guests. So if you're interested in sharing what your company is doing, what you're doing as a professional, as a leader, please send us a message at info@webuildadream.com. Next week, we'll have some special announcements of some cool prizes that we're going to be giving away for those that tune in. So keep watching what Build a Dream is doing. We're here to support you. Our purpose is to empower others to find their potential and believe in the power of their dreams. So I look forward to seeing you guys next week, and I hope everyone has a phenomenal weekend. Take care.
Bye.